All right, guys, it is that time of the week again. It is time to do yet another Green Bay Packers mock draft. The last two mock drafts included an initial 3-round mock draft and then a 5-round last week. This will be yet another 5-round mock draft as we ease closer and closer into draft day. I figured I'd do one more 5-rounder as I'm still learning a lot of the back end players in this draft class in terms of like 6th round, 7th round. I'm not fully aware of all the talent there just yet, so I want to stick to a 5-round mock draft for one more week, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing today. And again, there's not going to be any trades. We're going to save that for when we get into the full 7-round mock drafts. And again, if you're new here, I do Green Bay Packers mock drafts every single week, along with everything else Green Bay Packers: news, analysis, updates, salary cap, free agency. You can find it all here right on this channel, so go down and click subscribe. Before we dive into the mock draft, I want to give a massive shout out to today's video sponsor, BetUS. And right now, there is an amazing new promotion from BetUS. They'll give you a 125% bonus not only on your first deposit, but your first 3 deposits. And that's with code JOIN125. I'll put all of the details for that down in the description, as well as my link to get over to the BetUS website. And signing up with code JOIN125 gives you a 125% deposit match on your first 3 deposits. Plus, BetUS will also give you a 10% gambler's insurance on your net losses if you're active every 6 months. And right now on BetUS, there's actually a lot of Super Bowl props and some really funny ones. There's actually a whole category here to bet on Taylor Swift if she'll be shown on camera during the national anthem. The over-under on how many times she'll be shown on camera during the Super Bowl at 5.5 times right now. It's really funny, and they have some really cool prop bets for the Super Bowl over there on BetUS. So again, if you want to take advantage of this amazing deal, 125% deposit match on your first 3 deposits, go down, click the link below, and use code JOIN125. Again, thank you to BetUS for sponsoring today's video. All right, so without further ado, if we bring up the screen here, we still pick at pick 25. Again, I'm not going to do trades in this mock draft, and we have a lot of picks to make today in this mock draft, so I'm going to go ahead and advance this, and I'll come back to you, and we'll go through the picks that happened before the Packers. All right, so now let's go over the picks. For the 3rd straight time, the Bears have drafted Drake May at number 1 overall. We're just going to try to speak this into existence. Not saying Drake May is going to turn into Mitch Trubisky, but I think the Bears take a number 1 overall quarterback, and it's another guy from North Carolina. Like I said, it would just crack me up. Caleb Williams at number 2 to the Commanders. That would be a home run for them at number 2. Jaden Daniels at 3 to the Patriots. That seems very likely. Malik Neighbors goes before Marvin Harrison, which I don't see happening. Marvin Harrison at 5. At number 6, we have Rome Odunze going to the Giants. Joe Alt to the Titans. Cooper DeJean to the Falcons. A lot of people want to see Cooper DeJean in the green and gold, but he's likely going to be a top 12 pick or at least top 15 pick because he could play at cornerback for the Packers. He could play at safety if you really want him to be that deep single high safety that the Packers are going to need. He could do that, but I don't see him falling all the way to 25. But there's still a lot of time left. Things can change. Brock Bowers at number 9 to the Bears. Man, if they go out there and draft Drake May and Brock Bowers at number 9, it'd crack me up. We have Fuega here at 10 to the Jets. That's a slam pick. I really like him, and I think he'll be a very solid guard in the NFL. Bo Nix to the Vikings. That would be very interesting. Jerzon Newton to the Broncos here. Fashanu to the Raiders. Jared Verse to the Saints. Nate Wiggins to the Colts. Terrion Arnold to the Seahawks. Dallas Turner to the Jaguars. Quinyon Mitchell to the Bengals. Latu here to the Rams. Brian Thomas to the Steelers. Jackson Powers Johnson, who I consistently see going in this area now, and a couple weeks ago he was going in the 2nd round, so he's climbed a lot of boards. To the Dolphins there. J.C. Latham to the Eagles, Amarius Mims to the Texans, and Byron Murphy to the Cowboys. Now we're on the clock at pick 25, and there's a very obvious one here for me that he fell all the way to 25, and that is Kool-Aid McKinstry. This would be by far BPA right here at 25, but there's also Braylon Trice here. Don't think the Packers need an edge in round 1 yet again. Troy Franklin, don't think they need a wide receiver. Rake Straw, I really like, but he's undergoing surgery. Jordan Morgan is a tackle that the Packers could definitely have their eyes on. We have Penix. They're not going to go quarterback, right? Lad McConkey, wide receiver. Kamari Lassiter, another cornerback I really like. But if I'm going to take a cornerback, which is what I'm going to do here, it's going to be Kool-Aid McKinstry. And I think he could be a day 1 starter as outside cornerback. He had an 88.8 grade last year where he allowed 19 receptions on 39 targets for 205 yards, allowed 1 touchdown, and a 73.1 passer rating. Last year, he only allowed a 57.9 passer rating. He had an 87.8 coverage grade, a good run defense grade, 83.0, low completion percentage at 48.7, good man coverage grade, good zone coverage grade. Looking over his snaps here, we see at cornerback, 769 snaps, like primarily outside, right? Only 6 in the slot. So he is a pure outside cornerback, 6'1", 195 pounds. Probably one of the better outside cornerbacks in this draft class, and I think it would be an awesome addition to this defense. And you could have, him and Valentine on the outsides and Jair in the slot, or you could work around what you need to do for that defense. But I think it's obvious that the Packers have a need at cornerback right now. Overall, this is a very easy pick for me that he fell all the way to 25. Now, his rank on PFF is 23, and his average draft position is 22.3. So we're getting tremendous value here. The Packers have a need at cornerback, and I think they're going to address that very early. And getting someone like Kool-Aid McKinstry here at pick 25 would be an awesome pick. So at pick 25, we are going Kool-Aid McKinstry, Alabama cornerback. Now we are back on the clock at pick 41, and there's a lot of talent up on the board. We see Jonah Ellis here, Zach Frazier at center, Chris Jenkins at defensive line, Devontae Walker, wide receiver. We have Graham Barton at tackle, Xavier Leggett. Like I said, I don't think the Packers need to draft a wide receiver this early. We got Patrick Paul at tackle, Tyler Nubin at safety. Nubin we got in last week's mock draft, Chop Robinson. But the person I have my eyes on the most here is someone that I talked about in last week's mock draft, but didn't end up drafting him because I got Nubin at this point, is Chris Jenkins, defensive line from Michigan. A lot of people are raving about him and how he might be one of the better defensive linemen in this entire draft class. Nephew of former Packer Colin Jenkins, son of Chris Jenkins, who was also in the NFL. A lot of people think he's going to be an excellent defensive lineman in the NFL. He had an 82.7 grade last year with a 70.5 pass rush grade, but an 82.3 run defense grade, really good against the run. Run stop rate of 12.6%, pass rush win rate of 11.0%. I think the Packers, with a new defensive coordinator in Jeff Hafley, switching their entire outlook of their defense up, yeah, they're probably going to move to a 4-3, but base defense doesn't matter as much. They're generally going to be running that 4-2-5 nickel anyways, but I think adding like one more defensive lineman, and I said this last week, to that defensive line group, I think is just going to round it out perfectly and make it a very dangerous, front seven there. Because if you have, Rashawn Gary, Lucas Van Ness, Preston Smith, Enagbare at defensive ends, and then on the inside you have a mixture of Kenny Clark, Devontae Wyatt, TJ Slayton, Carl Brooks, Chris Jenkins. Man, that's a lot of talent. That's a lot of guys you can do different things with, and a lot of guys that have versatility. You could put Carl Brooks on the outside, no doubt, at defensive end in a 4-3 base. You could put Devontae Wyatt out there. You could do so many different things, and I think Chris Jenkins just adds that versatility, and another guy that can really, defend against the run, which the Packers desperately need. So at pick 2 here, pick 41 in the second round, we are going Chris Jenkins, defensive lineman from Michigan. Now we're here at pick 57, and man, this board is kind of just falling in our favor. Now we have Cameron Kinchens here, still available at pick 57, a rank 54, an average draft position of 46.6. I mean, if I'm here at 57 and he's there, I'm probably running that card up. But there are some other options. Jonathan Brooks, Adiza Isaac here. You also have some options at linebacker, such as Edgerrin Cooper and Jeremiah Trotter Jr. We talked about them in last week's mock. T'Vondre Sweat, a guy we got in last week's mock. Another safety in Kalen Bullock, which a lot of people like. I like him as well. But in terms of if both were available in Kinchens and Bullock, I would definitely take Kinchens. And he was a safety I got in the first mock draft. And I think getting him here at 57 is just tremendous value. And I do think Cameron Kinchens would fit perfectly into this new Packers defense. An extremely athletic and aggressive safety that you could put back there as your single high. You could move him into the box occasionally if you need him to. But as we see here, his grade last year, not wonderful compared to 2022, where he had the 90.0, but still decent, a 67.8. He had 52 tackles with 10 missed. Coverage grade, 65.1. Missed tackle rate, about average. Forced incompletion rate, about average. As we see down here on his snaps, 379 snaps deep, 110 in the box, and 113 in the slot. So has some versatility there. A very, very athletic safety. You cannot deny his athleticism. I know a lot of people always comment, Kinchens is the next Nick Collins, which if that's the case, 100% draft this guy, right? Of course, without the injury. That's what we would hope, right? So Cameron Kinchens is an easy pick here at pick 57 for me. I think this is easily BPA. So we are going Cameron Kinchens, safety from Miami, here at pick 57. Now we are at pick 88. We have pick 88 and also pick 91 in the third round here. And some players on the board, Jarvis Brownlee, if we wanted to go for another cornerback there. Guard Christian Mahogany, DJ James. Blake Corum's here, cornerback Jarian Jones. But there's also Cooper Beebe, who's a guy I got in last week's mock draft, and is someone who I continue to mock to the Green Bay Packers. There's always a couple players that every year during my mock drafts that I continue to mock to the Packers because they just fit so well. I did it last year with Carl Brooks, and I'm still hype about that pick, right? So I'm going to do it here again. I'm going to continue to mock Cooper Beebe to the Green Bay Packers because I think he fits so well. He's a mauler in the run game, also a great pass blocker, and he adds needed depth and talent to the interior of this Packers offensive line. 83.9 last year, only allowed 2 sacks, a 79.9 run block grade, 90.4 pass block grade. And as we see here, mainly last year just played left guard, some snaps at left tackle, but some snaps at right tackle as well. So has some versatility there, but he definitely is a guard in the NFL. And like I said, the Packers need that depth. They need that talent. It's likely that the Packers don't bring back John Runyon, so they're left with, just Elton Jenkins and Sean Ryan. They're going to need more depth there. And Cooper Beebe is someone who could take over the spot from Sean Ryan at right guard if everything goes well. But nonetheless, having that competition there and having multiple guys is great. And he screams Green Bay Packer. So here at pick 88, we are going Cooper Beebe, guard from Kansas State. Here at pick 91, I'm looking into the linebacker position, and someone that fits right here at pick 91 is linebacker Maris Liufau from Notre Dame. And a couple things Liufau does excellent is he's a great coverage linebacker. And if the Packers are switching their scheme and they need more, off-ball linebackers, I think Liufau here is a great option because he can cover running backs, he can cover tight ends and keep up with them. And also he's good at blitzing the quarterback. He's someone that you could, run through the A gap and get pressure on a quarterback. He had a 74.3 grade last year, 66.5 run defense, 66.9 pass rush, and an 84.1 coverage grade. So he definitely excels in coverage. He's a versatile linebacker with a high football IQ, and we know the Packers have a need at linebacker. I don't see Devondre Campbell returning, so that leaves just Quay Walker and Isaiah McDuffie. And obviously we know Jeff Hafley coached Isaiah McDuffie at Boston College, so I think they're going to think highly of him, and he very well could be the starter going into week 1 with Quay Walker, but they're still going to need depth at inside linebacker, and getting someone that has high football IQ, knows what he's doing, and can cover running backs and tight ends and can blitz the quarterback, I think would be an awesome add at that inside linebacker depth spot. So at pick 91, we are going Maurice Liufau here, linebacker out of Notre Dame. So now we have 2 picks remaining, both in the 4th round. Yes, it is a 5-round mock draft, but as of right now, the Packers don't own a 5th round pick. They likely will get one compensatory once those are released due to Al Lazard signing with the Jets. But for right now, that is not the case in this mock draft. So here at pick 125, I think I'm going to try to address the running back position. There's some other players on the board, tackle Blake Fisher. We have guard Zach Zinter here. There's some wide receivers, edge, but someone I really like, and I know a lot of people have been talking about him in my comments, of course, if you're a Wisconsin Badger fan, is Braylon Allen here. And Braylon Allen is still only 20 years old, which is insane. Like, this dude was, one of the best runners in the country at Wisconsin at the age of 18. It's insane, right? And I think Allen is a running back that if the Packers were to move on from A.J. Dillon, I think this would be a perfect swap. Like, I think Braylon Allen would just be like an upgraded A.J. Dillon in the NFL. He's faster. He's the same type of frame. He has better hands than A.J. Dillon. We see the last 3 seasons, last year not as much as the previous 2, 982 yards, but before that, 1,242 yards. 1,258 yards, so many touchdowns. He had 28 receptions last year for 131 yards, so he definitely got the ball thrown to him a lot. And I think adding Braylon Allen would be an awesome running back in this draft class. Like I said, he's super young, so he doesn't need to start right away because we'll still have Aaron Jones under the roster, but he could be a nice complementary running back for when Aaron Jones needs a breather. And I'm basing this off of if the Packers don't bring back A.J. Dillon, which very well could happen, but they're still going to draft a running back regardless. And right here, I think the best option or best value at pick 125 in the 4th round is Braylon Allen. So at this pick, I am going Braylon Allen, running back from Wisconsin, at 125. Here for our final pick at pick 135, I think I'm going to address the tackle position. We already got Cooper Beebe at guard. I still think the Packers draft 2 linemen in this draft class, maybe an interior guy, and then maybe an outside guy. Yosh Nijman is an impending free agent. I don't think they bring him back. We don't know what's going to happen with David Bakhtiari. That leaves Zach Tom, if they continue to play him at right tackle, Rasheed Walker at left tackle, and then the likes of Luke Tenuta and Caleb Jones. So I think they need a little bit more depth there because they are potentially losing Yosh Nijman, maybe even David Bakhtiari. And I think someone like Christian Jones would be an awesome fit at a depth tackle spot. He's played all right tackle the last 2 seasons, but played left tackle in 2021. So he has some side-to-side versatility there for a tackle. He only allowed 1 sack last year. He had a 75.2 run block grade, a 78.1 pass block grade. Now, Christian Jones is like a pure run blocking type of tackle. So in the future of the NFL, maybe he could make a switch into guard. But I still think he fits right at right tackle. So if the Packers wanted to, say, move Zach Tom to center or something of that sort, which I don't want them to do because he's been great at right tackle, but maybe he could be even better at center, they're going to they need another tackle there at right tackle, and that's someone like Christian Jones. Like I said, a great run blocker. I think the Packers need more maulers down low to really establish this run game. The run blocking was not great last year. Pass blocking was excellent, but run blocking was not great. So I think adding someone like this, just a complete mauler, right? 6'6", 321 pounds, Christian Jones out of Texas was my final pick in this 5-round mock draft. So we are going Christian Jones, tackle from Texas, at pick 135. All right, so that does it for my third Green Bay Packers mock draft of 2024. So now let's quickly go over the picks. At pick 25, Kool-Aid McKinstry fell right into our laps. I think, he should be drafted before this, but there's a lot of cornerbacks that could potentially go in that first round. He very well could fall to 25, and I think the Packers should run that card up. A pure outside cornerback that the Packers need. They need depth at that cornerback position. I think he'd be an awesome pick at 25. Then we go Chris Jenkins, nephew of Colin Jenkins, son of Chris Jenkins, two great defensive linemen in the NFL in the past. And I think Chris Jenkins will follow suit to his father and his uncle. I think this is an awesome pick at 41 and tremendous value. He's one of the better defensive linemen in this draft class, and just offers another versatile piece down low for the Packers front seven and helps against the run, which the Packers need. Then at pick 57, Cameron Kinchens fell all the way down to 57, and I think this is a safety that would add so much to this defense, especially under Jeff Hafley, and he could use them in a multitude of different ways, or simply just be your deep one safety back there, and he could do that. Extremely athletic and aggressive, and we know the Packers defense is going to be more aggressive this year. Then at pick 88, I went Cooper Beebe, a player I got last mock draft, and I think he just fits for the Green Bay Packers. A mauler type of guard, a run blocker. They need depth there. Then we went Marist Liufau here at linebacker at pick 91, a great athletic cover type of linebacker that can also rush the passer. They also need depth there at linebacker. Then at pick 125, we went Braylon Allen. I know a lot of people will probably be happy about this, but there's also the other half that don't like Braylon Allen at all, and they're pretty much going to say he's just going to be another A.J. Dillon. I think he's an upgrade to A.J. Dillon, and I think he's faster, he's better in the pass game, and he's probably a better runner as well, and he's only 20 years old. Like, he's going to continue to get better. So Braylon Allen at pick 125. I'm very happy with that value there in the 4th round. Then we wrap things up with Christian Jones, tackle out of Texas at 135. Primarily a right tackle, could potentially switch into guard, but I see him as like a right swing tackle, run blocking, mauling type of right tackle. And adding 2 maulers into this, offensive line from this draft class, I think would be awesome. So that does it for the 3rd Green Bay Packers mock draft. This was a 5-round mock draft. Like I said, next week I'll probably upgrade to a 7-round, so be on the lookout for that. But that about does it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll catch you on the next one, and as always, go Pack Go.